An unprecedented situation occurred in front of the UN headquarters, where a Tibetan independence activist set himself on fire and died. It is known to be a protest against China's recently implemented ethnic unity law. Today, let's take a closer look at this issue. Let's get right into it. On July 2nd at 6:30 p.m., a man was reported to have suffered severe burns outside the United Nations headquarters in New York, USA. After receiving the report, the police rushed to the scene and found a man who had been badly burned. He was immediately taken to the nearby Bellevue Hospital, but unfortunately, he did not survive. Police initially withheld the victim's identity, citing an ongoing investigation. Later, exiled Tibetan media and local news reported the deceased was Tibetan independence activist Lakpa Rangzin. He was known for long involvement in the Tibetan independence movement, even while working as a US Uber driver. During the incident, Lakpa Rangzin held the Tibetan flag and spoke at the United Nations headquarters, calling for Tibet's independence and unity. He began a live broadcast on Facebook to share the reality of Tibet, then poured a flammable substance on himself and set himself on fire. Bystanders were shocked, and though emergency responders arrived quickly and began rescue efforts, they couldn't save his life. Around the scene of the incident, leaflets with the phrase "China, get out of Tibet" were also found. His actions are seen as a protest against the Chinese government's rule over Tibet and minority policies, urging the international community to refocus on the Tibet issue. This is not the first time such forms of protest have occurred in Tibetan society. According to the International Tibet Movement, from 2009 to 2022, there have been over 150 cases of self-immolation in protest against China's Tibet policies. Most incidents happened in the Tibetan region, with few overseas cases, making this incident attract even more attention. This incident is being seen as further evidence that calls for Tibetan independence and for religious and cultural freedom are still ongoing. When asked about the incident, the Chinese government reiterated that Tibet belongs to China. They also stated that they have taken note of the related reports and believe that the relevant country will handle the matter according to its own laws. They also stated that they want to emphasize that Tibet has been an inseparable part of Chinese territory since ancient times. However, there is another reason why this incident is drawing even more attention. This incident is receiving extra attention since it happened just after China put the ethnic unity law into effect on July 1st. The National Ethnic Unity Law seeks to enhance community and national integration among all Chinese citizens, including Han Chinese and 55 other ethnic minorities. As I explained before, this law is causing major issues because it targets not only the persecution of ethnic minorities, but also punishes foreigners who insult foreigners. There is also a provision holding people legally responsible if they undermine ethnic unity or incite division outside China's borders. If you criticize China and the Chinese government sees it as undermining ethnic unity and development, you could be punished when entering China. The ethnic unity law is important because it makes the country's ethnic policy a law, not just an administrative guideline. The law stipulates that national institutions, local government agencies, and local governments must use ethnic unity as an important standard in all policy implementation processes. When setting policies in education, culture, economy, employment, and regional development, promoting ethnic unity must also be considered. Each local government and public institution is now legally required to continually promote ethnic unity policies. The law assigns national institutions and officials the duty to protect ethnic unity. Public officials must prevent actions that hinder ethnic unity in the course of their duties and actively implement related policies. This suggests the government views ethnic issues as central to national administration, with specific rules for media and publishing. Media and publishing organizations must create and share content that strengthens a sense of belonging to the Chinese nation. Movies, broadcasts, publications, and online content must also promote ethnic unity. On the other hand, legal grounds have been established so that content deemed to incite ethnic conflict or division can be subject to regulation. The punishment regulations have also been written broadly. Acts that undermine ethnic unity, incite ethnic hatred and discrimination, or promote ethnic division are subject to administrative or criminal penalties according to relevant laws. However, the law does not specify in detail the exact criteria for what constitutes an act that undermines ethnic unity. As a result, the international community and legal experts remain concerned that the scope could be interpreted too broadly. The passage of such a bill was enough to instill a sense of anxiety among Tibetans. They strongly oppose it, arguing it will further suppress Tibetan culture, religion, and identity. President Xi Jinping has increased institutional control over ethnic minorities since taking office. Ethnic minorities like Tibetans and Uyghurs face intense surveillance for signs of separatist activity. Additionally, Taiwan is one of the places reacting most sensitively to the new ethnic unity law. In Taiwan, they believe that this law doesn't just apply to minority policies, but could also serve as a legal basis for dealing with the Taiwan issue in the long run. Taiwanese civic groups are especially focused on Article 21 of the Ethnic Unity Law. This article states that economic, cultural, and other exchanges across the strait should be promoted, and that a sense of belonging and identity as members of the Chinese nation should be strengthened among the people of Taiwan. In Taiwan, this is not seen as a provision for expanding cultural exchanges, but rather interpreted as a legal mechanism to incorporate Taiwanese people into the national identity of being Chinese. Taiwanese civic groups are also concerned about Article 41 and Article 63. They evaluated Article 41 as a provision that institutionalizes China's United Front strategy into law, and argued that Article 63 provides the basis for extraterritorial jurisdiction, allowing China to hold people accountable even outside its borders. According to the Taiwanese side's analysis, when these regulations are considered together, China has established a foundation to expand not only legal pressure but also political and psychological pressure on overseas figures, including foreigners. Therefore, there are also claims that this law goes beyond the scope of ordinary domestic laws. Chen Yuanjia, vice president of Canaan University and a Taiwanese national security and diplomacy scholar, also expressed similar concerns, noting Article 63 will likely be invoked for national security. He explained that the biggest problem is that the law does not specifically define what constitutes acts that hinder national unity or acts of ethnic division. If the standards are not clear, the scope of interpretation can become broader, and as a result, the state's discretion in the enforcement process can also increase. Because of this, people in Taiwan worry that in the future, not only when visiting or transiting China, but also when in other countries, their past remarks or actions could cause problems. Some analysis suggests that previously unaffected areas like academic exchanges, business, and cultural events could now be impacted. Of course, the actual scope of application will have to be confirmed through future enforcement cases, but in Taiwan, there is a growing sense of caution that this new national unity law could become a new legal burden not only for cross-strait relations, but also for Taiwanese people living overseas. Additionally, because its provisions may apply to foreigners, the international community responded quickly. The United States and Europe are closely watching whether this law could extend beyond China's internal ethnic policies and affect other countries. Right after the law passed, the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee released a bipartisan statement against it. Republican and Democratic lawmakers jointly stated that the Chinese Communist Party has long denied self-determination to minorities like Tibetans, Uyghurs, and Mongols. They criticized the new ethnic unity law for increasing control over minorities' religion, culture, and language in and outside China. U.S. lawmakers especially objected to the law's requirement for conformity to Chinese Communist Party ideology. They pointed out that the government enforcing specific political values by law could restrict freedom of expression and freedom of religion. They also worried the law could let the government punish people who merely voiced opposition for allegedly undermining ethnic unity. They also criticized that this law could be misused as a means to justify transnational repression, mentioning the possibility that human rights activists, researchers, journalists, and civil society organizations working abroad could also be affected. The U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee also stated that it will continue to support the human rights of minorities such as Tibetans and Uyghurs, and will respond to China's attempts to expand the application of its laws in ways that could infringe on the sovereignty of other countries. The European Union also immediately expressed concern. The EU pointed out in a spokesperson's statement that the ethnic unity law could potentially restrict the cultural, linguistic, and religious rights of minorities. In particular, they expressed concern that the law defines the concept of ethnic unity in a very broad manner. Without clear standards for what counts as harming ethnic unity, arbitrary interpretation during law enforcement is hard to prevent. The EU urged China to fully respect internationally recognized human rights standards and the cultural rights of minorities, and stated that they will continue to monitor the actual enforcement process after the implementation of this law. With both the United States and Europe voicing concerns, the ethnic unity law is emerging as a new diplomatic issue, not just a domestic Chinese matter. China strongly protested, demanding other countries stop interfering in its internal affairs. Guo Jiakun, spokesperson for the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs, stated that some countries are maliciously slandering China's ethnic policies due to ideological bias and political motives, spreading false information, interfering in China's internal affairs, and that China strongly opposes this.